When I was about 10 years old, I lived in a small house in New Jersey, right across from a cemetery. It was the kind of neighborhood where shadows always seemed longer and silence carried an unsettling weight. My bedroom was in the basement, a place where light fought hard to intrude, and air often felt stale. One night, without warning, I shot upright in bed. My heart was racing, though I couldn't say why. The room was cloaked in darkness, but I scanned it instinctively, my eyes adjusting to the faint outlines of my belongings. And then I saw it. A claw, long, gnarled, and distinctly wolf-like, reached out from beneath my bed. Its rough fingers wrapped around my football, dragging it into the shadows. My breath caught, my body frozen as my mind struggled to comprehend what I had just seen. The primal part of me took over. I turned away, flipping to face the wall, my back pressed tightly against the corner where my bed sat. Then the trembling started. At first, I thought it was just me, quivering uncontrollably from fear. But the bed itself seemed to shift, ever so slightly, as if something beneath me was moving. I squeezed my eyes shut, willing myself to be invisible, and stared at the wall with a focus so intense it felt like hours passed. Every so often, I felt a gust of air on the back of my head. It wasn't a gentle breeze, but a chilling, deliberate breath. I knew it wasn't the window. That basement window was sealed tight, barely letting in light, let alone air. The room had no vents either, so there was no logical explanation. The air should have been heavy and still, but it wasn't. Sweat poured down my face as the minutes dragged on, each second feeling like an eternity. I fixated on the faint light that began to creep into the room. Morning was coming, the pale glow of dawn that hinted at safety. As soon as it felt bright enough, I bolted upright and lunged for the light switch. The room flooded with light, and I turned, breathless, to confront whatever had been under my bed. But there was nothing, just the silence of the room and the disarray of my sheets, which had fallen to obscure the gap beneath my bed. Still trembling, I grabbed my airsoft gun from beside the door. My hands shook as I approached the bed, heart hammering against my ribs. Using the barrel of the gun, I nudged the hanging sheet aside. There it was, my football, resting innocently in the shadowed space beneath my bed. I froze for a moment, the incongruity of it all gnawing at my mind. Then panic took over. I dropped the gun and sprinted out of the room, bounding up the stairs 2 at a time until I reached the kitchen. To this day, that night is etched vividly in my memory. I have no explanation for what I saw, no logical reasoning for what I felt. But I know what I experienced was real. That claw, that unshakable sense of presence, it wasn't a dream. It was something else. Something I'll never forget.